Are you wondering about losing weight in your 30s and 40s? Are you worried that it's too hard and that the odds are stacked against you? In this video, I'm going to go through the challenges of losing weight in your 30s and 40s and what you can do to overcome them. Hi, it's Ivana. I've been a fitness and nutrition coach for over 20 years, and I specialize in helping people in their 30s and 40s lose weight and build muscle. I'm going to give you strategies to follow to help you achieve your goals, but I'm also going to help you change your mindset about age. So if you're looking for advice for people over 30 who are interested in maximizing their potential physically and mentally, please consider subscribing to my channel. Now let's look at some of those lifestyle factors. I'm going to make some generalizations about people in their 30s or 40s. They may or may not apply to you, but based on the clients that I've had, this is what I've seen. Now, you may have a busy or a stressful career. The 30s and 40s are kind of when you're really pushing hard. A lot of people also have young children hanging around. And that can definitely place a lot of stress on you as well. Kids can also affect sleep, and that is a key part of weight loss. When you're sleeping enough, you're much more likely to be successful with weight loss. So let's talk about sleep. Not enough of us place sleep high enough on our priority lists, even when we can get enough. So a measurable physiological decline in our sleep doesn't seem to occur until we hit our 60s, which is great news. So if you're in your 30s or 40s, you should be able to get good sleep if you do the right things, promote those healthy sleep habits, and make it a priority. So get your 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Keep the same sleep schedule if you can. So that means not sleeping in too much on the weekends, even if it feels like you need to. Reduce your caffeine intake, particularly in the afternoon, and try to avoid devices for an hour before bed. So anything that interferes with your preparation for sleep can affect the quality of your sleep as well. Now, how does this affect weight loss? Think about how you feel when you're tired. Are you really enthusiastic and putting the most into your workouts? Are you even doing workouts? And even more importantly, are you making the right nutrition choices? Are you eating high calorie, high fat, high sugar comfort foods when you're tired? I do. I'm much more likely to make those kind of choices when I'm tired than when I'm feeling really energetic. So sleep helps you make better choices and helps you establish better habits. A big part of weight loss in your 30s and 40s is management of carbs. It does appear that we start to experience a reduction in our tolerance for carbs as we get older. Now, this affects everybody to a lesser or greater extent. Someone who's always been very lean, they probably won't have any issues with carb tolerance, but they may experience a slight decrease as they get older. What I recommend for my clients in general is to reduce their carb intake. It doesn't mean no carbs. It doesn't even necessarily mean what most people consider low carb. It just means a little bit less carbs than you used to have in your 20s. If you're not managing your carbs correctly, then you're going to experience more cravings, and that means you're going to eat more, and overconsumption of calories is really what weight loss comes down to. Reducing your carbs helps you manage your appetite, particularly your appetite for more carbs. And it helps keep cravings under control. So for most of my clients, I do recommend a slight reduction in carbs. Calorie intake itself probably should be decreased as you get older. And ideally, you would be more precise with your macro content as you get older as well, making sure that you have fiber, which is really important for your digestion as you get older. Loss of muscle mass, what we call sarcopenia, can become an issue if you don't do anything to maintain it. You're going to lose 0.5 to 1% of your muscle mass for every year over 35. Again, that's if you don't do anything about it. So how do we maintain our muscle mass as we get older? Strength training 2 to 4 times a week. That helps maintain the muscle that you have and ideally even keep building it as you get older. Even people in their 70s and 80s are able to build muscle through resistance training. The younger you are, the harder you need to push those muscles. So the heavier you need to lift and the harder you need to push yourself to get benefits. And while it's good to have your regular routine, it's also important to do progressive resistance training, which means you're pushing yourself a little bit harder. As you get stronger, you're pushing yourself with heavier weights or maybe higher repetitions. Progressive resistance training as you get older makes a big difference for maintaining that muscle mass. It means that your body is slightly more metabolically active. So muscle is more active than fat, so it burns more calories. It isn't a huge amount, in fairness, if you actually break down the numbers, but if you have more muscle, you're more likely to move around as well. You're more likely to be that energetic person who's kind of like running around everywhere and is able to expend more calories on a daily basis. Exercise, if you do it properly and give yourself enough rest, will give you more energy, and then that momentum builds and you're burning more calories to lose weight. Now, I should say that pretty much everything I'm saying here is going to benefit someone who's in their 20s as well. But it feels like in your 20s you can get away with stuff, so you just do it. But if you're in your 20s and you're watching this and you're kind of at that age where you're like, okay, this is my tipping point. I either get really strong as I get older, or I'm going to end up spending all my time on the couch and rapidly gaining weight over time. Then I want this to be a little bit of a choice for you so that you're heading in the right direction, no matter what your age. As you get older, it's important to pay attention to injuries. Certainly, I think everyone should pay attention to injuries and imbalances in the muscle. So maybe you're working out and you just feel stiffness on one side, or you get a little bit of a twinge in your knee. These things do tend to appear more often as you get older, but it's more an accumulation of the lifetime bad habits that will develop those things as you get older. So if you're careful about dealing with a tight muscle here or a little niggle there, then you're less likely to get injured in the first place or to have to take time off of workouts altogether. As we get older, our bodies don't produce as much collagen. That's the protein that's found in your muscles and tendons and ligaments. Injuries take longer to heal, so let's do our best to avoid them in the first place by catching things before they become a big problem. If you're trying to lose weight in your 30s and 40s, it's important to get enough protein. That's because the need for protein for muscle repair and building increases as we get older. So my normal recommendation is 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein per day. Those that I have who are in their 30s, 40s, or older, I tend to go on the higher end of that range unless they have some reason why they can't tolerate protein. But it's more important as you get older in order to maintain that muscle mass to get your protein in. My most important tip for weight loss in your 30s and 40s is pay attention to your body. In your 20s, you can sort of ignore what your body's telling you. I remember I used to work a day job plus an evening job and plus training. I was getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. That was not the right thing to do at my 20s either, right? Now that I'm older, I simply refuse to do that to myself because I know that there's going to be consequences. And hopefully now that you're a bit older, you're considering your health a little bit more and the long-term outlook. You want to be feeling great in your 50s and 60s and 70s, and you want a long, healthy, and vibrant life. So what you're doing right now is building up to a better future. So when you're really tired, make the time to rest. It's all about setting your priorities. Obviously, you have a lot of pressures and things that can't be worked around, but cutting out the things that are less important and focusing on taking care of yourself often makes a big difference for every aspect of your life. And the weight loss will come naturally from that. Hopefully, you know your body a bit better than you did in your 20s. You know what helps it thrive, and you know what causes it to suffer. My takeaway from all this is don't use your age as an excuse. There are people out there who are healthy and feeling physically strong in their 50s and 60s and 70s, and I want you to be one of those people as you move on in years. Please hit the like button if you like the sound of that. I've got a ton of videos on my channel to help people in their 30s and 40s lose weight, feel stronger, and feel better, so I've got a few of them linked up at the end here. Stick around and enjoy.